Who leaked them? Why were they leaked? How many secrets were lost? These are the key new questions this morning.
The Pentagon confirming the images obtained by documentary filmmaker Jeremy Corbell were taken by Navy personnel, expected to be a part of a report on unidentified aerial phenomenon.
Military leaders would do anything to keep certain things hidden, yet sometimes things don't go as planned. Despite their best efforts, photos that should never have been seen by the public have leaked, causing significant concern. Minutes ago, leaked photos exposed some of the military's most undercover projects, and authorities are rushing to cover it all up. For instance, we saw the X-37 spaceplane, a pilotless spacecraft circling Earth for 2 years. Despite heavy security, pictures of its 29-foot-long frame have made it online. Some are so advanced, they don't seem from this planet. What alien weapons are they hiding from us? Let us expose the forbidden alien technology that was just accidentally released by the Army. The X-37 spaceplane, a notable example from numerous U.S. aircraft experiments over past decades. This plane operates without a pilot and is designed to path into space. It recently returned to Earth after a 2-year orbit, landing at the Kennedy Space Center in Florida. Even though this aircraft is meant to be a highly guarded hidden, its photos have somehow been circulated online. It's believed that only 2 of these planes exist. Each one is 29 feet long and has a wingspan of 15 feet. An object was spotted that might represent a new type of spy plane or a sophisticated piece of space technology, yet its true nature remained shrouded in riddle. Despite the general curiosity and need for clarity, the path forward was to simply await further information. Described as a leap into the future due to its advanced technology, the actual details about it were minimal. As time would pass, it was hoped that more light would be shed on this discovery. Switching focus to the U.S. Navy, it's known for generally being open about its activities. However, there are certain photographs from the 1970s that remain tightly held back from public release. These images are different from the typical photos from that time that you might see. They are kept out of sight, likely because they contain images of unidentified flying objects. While many might brush off the subject of UFOs as trivial, the deliberate withholding of these photos suggests they hold significant value or contain sensitive information that could provoke public concern or interest. The decision to not release these photos hints at the potential complications or challenges they could cause if made public. A photograph taken aboard a USS submarine while on patrol captured an unusual object hovering above the ocean. This event occurred during a period when tensions were high with Russia, although war ultimately did not break out. Another photo that was unexpectedly released showed the results of a failed missile test in Iran. This incident was well known, despite attempts to keep military failures confidential. The photo clearly showed a massive explosion at the test site, where the missile was supposed to launch but instead destroyed the facility. This was a straightforward case of a technological failure, unlike the captured by the submarine. The 2 photos share a common theme. They were both intended to remain hidden. In each case, someone decided to keep these images from the public, possibly to avoid panic or to control information. Yet, despite these efforts, both images eventually became public, leading to widespread discussion and speculation. The release of such images demonstrates the challenges in controlling sensitive information. No matter how tightly information is guarded, it often finds its way into the public domain. Once released, it invites scrutiny and conjecture from all corners, as people try to make sense of what they are seeing. This process can be drawn out and filled with numerous competing interpretations, reflecting our deep curiosity and the complex nature of hidden truths. Both scenarios underline a broader reality about information control. It is not always possible to keep important or intriguing information concealed. From military unexpected technological failures, the truth tends to emerge, bringing with it a host of questions and interpretations. This dynamic plays out repeatedly, illustrating our enduring desire to uncover and understand the hidden aspects of our world. Back when these events unfolded, not many people felt sympathy for Iran. Instead, the internet was filled with people mocking the situation. One prominent mocker was the U.S. president at the time, Donald Trump. He stirred up a significant amount of attention when he posted highly detailed satellite images on his now closed social media account to make fun of an incident involving Iran. At first, everything seemed straightforward with these images being shared widely. As we uncover a serious security mistake, another unexpected leak grabs our attention. Satellite security compromised. However, the situation quickly took a serious turn when top military officials in the United States started criticizing Trump's actions. They argued that the images were too clear and detailed. According to these military experts, the sharpness of the photos might allow hostile forces to figure out which satellite was used for the surveillance and even how to target it for destruction. This issue became even more pressing when, following the criticisms, an astronomer used the shared photo to identify the specific satellite involved. This satellite was called USA 224, an advanced piece of technology with a powerful 2.5-meter wide optical mirror capable of taking very clear pictures from about 200 miles above Earth. It could zoom in enough to see objects smaller than 10 centimeters wide. For comparison, images released to the public by commercial companies usually cannot show details smaller than 25 centimeters. This capability made USA 224 one of the most powerful surveillance satellites ever deployed. Despite this, in the aftermath of Trump's tweet, the military tried to modify the image to make it look like it was taken by a less capable camera. However, Trump's decision to post the original high-resolution images had already exposed the true capabilities of the satellite, undermining the military's efforts to keep its technological abilities under wraps. This situation highlighted a clear example of reckless behavior that could have serious implications for national security, showcasing how a moment of overconfidence and the desire to boast could lead to potentially grave consequences. Recently, photos were leaked by a former prison guard that show the terrible conditions of North Korean prison camps, often called gulags. Despite North Korean leader Kim Jong-un's firm denials, these pictures prove that the camps are real. The photos show electric fences, crowded and run-down buildings, high walls, and tall watchtowers, all apparently built under Kim Jong-un's orders. Before these photos were made public, North Korean authorities had denied the existence of these camps. Now it's clear that these are not just ordinary prisons, but places where extreme human rights violence occurs. One harsh method of punishment documented is pigeon torture, where prisoners' arms are tied behind their backs, making it painful to sit or stand for long periods. This can leave lasting damage to their bodies. These violent acts are extensive, with the deaths of hundreds of thousands of people linked to the harsh conditions and torture in these camps. The images bring these issues into the open, showing a regime that values control over the well-being and lives of people. The world's reaction to these revelations has been one of shock, though some see this as a reminder of similar horrors committed by other oppressive regimes in history. Releasing these photos highlights a critical issue that can no longer be ignored. It's a call to the international community to face the grim reality of these camps and reconsider their approach to North Korea. It also asks tough questions about the responsibilities of countries worldwide in responding to such clear violations of human rights. The exposure of these camps is not just about revealing the truth, it's about prompting global action. It pushes for a more direct confrontation with Kim Jong-un's government and stresses the need for countries to not just stand by. This situation demands a stronger, unified response to ensure that such brutal treatment does not continue unnoticed. It's a crucial moment that could define future international policies and the global stance on protecting human dignity against oppressive regimes. The call for action is urgent, aiming to prevent further suffering and loss of life in these harsh prison environments. The situation at Abu Ghraib prison in Baghdad is a stark and painful reminder of the grim realities of war. The leaked photographs showing U.S. military personnel mistreating Iraqi prisoners are hard to look at. They reveal not just physical violence, but a deep failure of moral responsibility. These images bring to light the severe treatment that detainees endured, such as being forced into uncomfortable and painful positions, among other harsh treatments. The number of people crammed into Abu Ghraib is staggering. Over 50,000 women and children were packed into spaces unfit for so many, living under terrible conditions. Yet the photographs showed that the reality was even worse than what was already known. These images were a wake-up call, showing violence and neglect that seemed to have been ignored by those in charge. When these photographs were released to the public, they brought the world to a halt. People everywhere were confronted with the shocking truth of what was happening behind prison walls. In response, the Pentagon eventually admitted to conducting 35 investigations into the violence at Abu Ghraib. These investigations uncovered that 25 individuals had died as a result of the cruel treatment by soldiers who showed a complete disregard for human life. This chapter of Abu Ghraib is a lesson in the consequences of insufficient oversight and the dangers of allowing power to go unchecked. It raises serious questions about the standards of conduct and the ethical obligations of those in positions of power, especially in a war setting. Moving from one leak to another, we now explore shocking conditions in distant prison camps. The U.S. government tries very hard to keep this place under wraps, not allowing any photographs to prevent smart rival countries from learning too much about how it works. Despite their strict measures, a photograph of the base recently appeared online. This incident raises questions about how well they are really keeping things under control. What caused this security lapse? It's hard to say exactly where things went wrong, but having a television station too close to the base and allowing people to approach the area likely didn't help. The U.S. might think it has everything tightly controlled, but this mistake shows there are definite weaknesses in their supposed fortress. The shadows of global surveillance, a scenario unfolded at Pine Gap that highlighted the intricate challenges of safeguarding sensitive information. The facility, enshrouded in secrecy, became the epicenter of scrutiny after the inadvertent release of a photograph. This minor misstep suggested a lapse in the rigorous security measures expected of such a critical establishment. The photograph not only revealed a breach in physical security, but also hinted at underlying vulnerabilities in protocol and oversight. This exposure forced a re-evaluation of the security practices surrounding the handling and protection of sensitive information. Recently, Rolling Stone magazine brought to public attention a disturbing issue concerning the U.S. military. The magazine revealed around 50 shocking photos showing American soldiers posing with dead bodies in Afghanistan. What made these images particularly horrifying was that the deceased were not enemy fighters but civilians. The soldiers were photographed during what appeared to be routine operations, displaying a deeply troubling indifference to the loss of human life. This exposure led to widespread public outrage. The U.S. government quickly responded with apologies and assured the public that those involved would face legal actions. This incident is a clear example of how serious mistakes can deeply affect the reputation of the military and necessitate government intervention to address the fallout. A related vein, the Israeli Defense Force has faced criticism over its treatment of female soldiers. Reports of unfair treatment and harassment have surfaced, challenging the force's reputation for equality and strict discipline. These issues have sparked intense discussions about not just military conduct, but also the societal attitudes that influence such behavior. These examples point to larger systemic problems within military organizations around the world. They show how actions during military operations can have severe implications for civilians, and how internal military issues can reflect broader societal problems. Despite the harsh training conditions, this school reports high enrollment numbers, with more than 600 children attending in the summer and 1,500 during the school year. These insights into the Russian cadet training sharply contrast with images from other military forces, such as the United States, where not all operations run smoothly. The pressure to maintain a perfect image often conceals the real mishaps and errors that occur. For example, a photograph from a U.S. tank training session shows a major blunder where two M1 Abrams tanks collided. This photo shows the soldiers standing by, looking confused and embarrassed, next to the huge, tangled machines, each weighing about 260 tons. While outsiders might find the mishap amusing, it's a serious matter for those involved and the authorities who would prefer to keep such incidents hidden. Additionally, a revealing photograph from China casts doubt on the perceived perfection of soldiers' posture during parades. The image suggests that the soldiers' perfect alignment and stance might not solely be the result of practice. It hints at possibly undisclosed methods used to maintain such precision, raising questions about what lengths military forces might go to uphold an image of flawless discipline and control. Let's discuss the purpose of using pins in military training. These pins are not merely decorative, but serve as strict disciplinarians, ensuring that the recruits maintain a perfect posture. The precise placement of these pins means that any deviation from the ideal posture could result in significant discomfort. The underlying threat of pain keeps the soldiers aligned with the required standards. Moving on to an event like Trooping the Color, which is intended to be a flawless display of military precision, especially in the presence of high-ranking officials. However, Perfection is hard to achieve, as demonstrated during a 1970 ceremony attended by Queen Elizabeth II. During this event, as the Queen rode past on her horse, a soldier unexpectedly fainted, collapsing right in the view of all attendees. The cause of his fainting, whether due to the heat, the restrictive uniform, or a personal health issue, was not made clear. The situation demanded that both the surrounding soldiers and the Queen herself maintain their composure despite the unforeseen incident, adding a layer of tension to the ceremony. Considering the Crimean War, one might assume that the chaos of war is no place for photographers. Yet the presence of cameras has become more common in modern conflicts, bringing the battlefield into clearer view. The Crimean War was notably documented through photography, capturing the stark and violent nature of the conflict. These images contradict the notion that war is too chaotic for careful documentation. They provide a vivid, enduring record of the harsh realities faced by those on the front lines, offering a silent yet powerful counterpoint to the usual chaos associated with war. Through these photographs, the brutal impact and the human cost of the war are preserved and communicated to future generations, highlighting the significant role of visual documentation in understanding historical conflicts. Some people were daring enough to travel great distances to take photos that marked the exciting beginning of modern wartime photography. These images not only showed the harsh realities of war, but also highlighted the creative ways soldiers managed to adapt under tough conditions, showcasing their resilience and training. For example, there's a photo of a soldier who becomes a makeshift platform for his fellow sniper because they didn't have the right equipment. It's not clear why they decided to take this photo, and the soldiers in it don't look pleased. The puzzled look on the face of the soldier who is bending over tells a story of discomfort and the strange nature of their situation. Despite the confusion about why this photo was taken, it garnered a lot of attention online. Belarus leaked photos revealing their military training have surfaced. The equipment and methods shown in the photos seem outdated, more reminiscent of old war movies than a modern military exercise. This not only raises questions about the effectiveness of their training, but also about how seriously their military capabilities can be taken. The military activities of Belarus are usually kept under wraps, but they were thrust into the public eye by an unexpected source: Max, a new recruit who couldn't resist using his camera. The photographs he took revealed shockingly poor living conditions for Belarusian soldiers. These images showed that beyond enduring tough training, the soldiers are forced to live in appalling conditions. Their bathrooms are falling apart, and they don't even have hot water for bathing. Instead, they resort to pouring cold water over themselves from buckets, a harsh reality of their daily life. Moving on to the Syrian conflict, another set of leaked photographs brought hidden truths to light. These photos showed U.S. and British special forces not just working with Syrian opposition fighters, but also socializing with them. The images painted a picture of camaraderie and cooperation, quite contrary to the official stance of mere observational involvement claimed by Western powers. The release of these photos was significant because it confirmed the direct involvement of U.S. and British forces in training opposition fighters in Syria, a fact that had been consistently denied by the governments of these countries since 2013. This disclosure was not a minor oversight. It was a major revelation that exposed the deep involvement of these nations in shaping the dynamics of the Syrian conflict, supporting groups they officially claimed to only be watching from afar. The Burlington Bunker, constructed in the 1950s, was a huge underground facility meant to serve as a safety zone for the British government in the event of a nuclear attack. Located beneath RAF Corsham in Wiltshire, England, this bunker spanned 35 acres and was built 120 feet underground. It was equipped to house up to 4,000 people. This facility was essentially an underground town, complete with hospitals, offices, living spaces, cafeterias, and kitchens. Planned during a period marked by intense fear of nuclear war, the bunker was a response to the threat of total annihilation. It was designed to ensure that, even in the worst scenarios, the government could continue to function. The very existence of such a complex speaks to a time of great anxiety and the extreme steps taken by governments to safeguard their continuity. The bunker, hidden and inaccessible, served as a powerful symbol of a government's resolve to survive under dire circumstances, illustrating a readiness influenced by fear and the looming possibility of nuclear disaster. During the tense years of the Cold War, Britain constructed its second-largest underground facility, designed to support life for a minimum of 3 months in case of a severe emergency. This complex was more than a mere shelter. It was equipped with an advanced communications network that included a television studio from which the government could continue to operate and issue broadcasts. The bunker itself was a small city buried underground, featuring over 60 meters of roads and an extensive pneumatic tube system to facilitate quick and silent internal communications. This giant network was connected to an even larger system of pre-existing tunnels that extended over 18 miles. For over 30 years, this bunker stood ready, a hidden giant lying in wait for a disaster that thankfully never arrived. By the time the Berlin Wall fell in 1991, the perceived threat had diminished significantly, and the facility was eventually deemed unnecessary. What do you think is more important, preserving historical sites or repurposing them for modern needs? Share your thoughts in the comments, like this video, and don't forget to subscribe for more.